Hello, this is a quick introduction to the tiny Techno Pseudo language. It's a command-based system, uses pure data. It's basically a way to interact with a patch via text. You give it commands and it does the thing that you said for it to do. It's meant to be very easy to use, lightweight, and you don't have to worry about complex syntax. It's just sort of plug and play and off you go, simple. On the GitHub, the README has installation and running instructions, and then how to use it for the different instruments. So far, a 5-piece drum kit, a bass, and a synth. I plan on adding a couple more things, but I'm going to keep it small. So, how do we do this? Start 1 starts the metronome, 0 stops it. So let's get it running. We can enter the BPM. It defaults to 120 anyway, but I could change it to whatever I want. We're going to start with the kick. So the kick, the snare, and the cymbal all have the same basic set of functions of how they work, and they look like this. They each have a mod, so that's the length of your sequence. So I'm going to go for the kick, a 4-step sequence. I'm going to play on the 0, so we'll count 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Every time it hits the 0, it'll play the kick drum. We can use the, we need to put in the instrument first. Kick, play 0. And then kick volume 1, and we should be able to hear it. There it is. I can say kick sample, and I can put in my own custom samples. I'll go back to the default. Okay, so I can change the sample, I can change the volume, I can change the length of the sequence and when it plays. I can also change, the kick has a high pass. So if I want to take that out for a minute, for a few bars, and then drop it back in, I can do that. Awesome. So we have play, mod, high pass, volume, and the sample. The snare does the same thing, so I'm going to go snare mod 8, snare play 4. It's really easy to create polymetric patterns with this by changing the length of the sequence. There we go. Excellent. The snare also has a low pass. If you want to dull it a bit, sometimes you might want to do that if it's too bright. Let's bring it back up to 20,000 to make it nice and bright. If I change the mod to a 7, for example, you get polymetric patterns. If I was to ask it to play on a different step, you get a different result. So it's fun to play with different BPMs and sequence lengths. All right, the cymbal works in the same way. Let's go mod 2 and turn it up. It defaults to playing on the 0, I believe. Yeah, and if I didn't want that to be a cymbal, I could change that out for any other sample I wanted. All right, let's look at the closed hats. Hi-hat closed. This uses a different system because it needs a pattern. We go hi-hat bin for binary, and we use 0s and 1s to type in when we want it to play and when we want it to be a rest. So 0 is a rest and 1 is to play. I can change that pattern. The hi-hat has the ability to offset the pattern. If I want to change, I can move those 1s and 0s to the left or the right. Good for finding different patterns. I can say hi-hat closed all, and it fills all 8 or none to make them all zeros. I'll get it back to a basic offbeat. I also have with the hi-hat the DEL, delay function. I can delay it by a number of milliseconds. So let's say I delay it by 100. And you get that sort of wonky vibe. There we go. Are there any other effects for the hat? I can change the sample, of course. Let's change it to a 909 open hat for a minute. Cool. So those are the sort of things we can do there. Bring it back up a bit. Okay, now we have a clap. So the clap is a Euclidean system. So you give it the length of the sequence and how many claps you want to play, and it tries to space them equally over that length of time. So I'm going to go clap mod 16. So there's 16 steps. It defaults to 16. Clap uke 5. So it's going to try and space those 5 claps over 16 steps as evenly as possible. Just like the hi-hat, I can offset this to find different patterns. Is 0 as the index for it being the normal pattern. Let's chuck in 9 claps. You could chuck in 11. Clap also has a bit depth function, so if I make that like 4 bits, it'll sound very different. If I put different samples in, that sounds quite different. Let's chuck in the 99 clap. Nice and dirty. Let's bring that old clap sample back. Oops. All right. Excellent. Let's change the BPM, make it 132. I could go nice and slow, or ridiculously fast. Let's go 1,000. Let's see what happens. So 999. Cool. I can turn that off. And when I start it, it starts from the same place. Excellent. So that's the kick, the snare, the closed hat, the cymbal, the Euclidean clap as the 5-piece drum kit. Have a play with that. There's also a bass, which I'll go through in another video, and a synth. They both use the same system. And yeah, hopefully you can start playing and making some music. If you want to edit anything, the PD patch is the main part of the system, and you can go in. It's very much a work in progress. It's very messy at the moment. But you can go in and change stuff if you really want to hack it. Otherwise, just use it and enjoy. I'll put the link to the GitHub page in the description. Thanks.